You should have extra bonus prizes here today. So welcome back and welcome to some new folks. So welcome Lillian, welcome Lisa Rablak. Oh, Lisa, you were with us on Tuesday, but yeah, welcome back. And Lisa Shell, welcome. And today we are going to cover how to have a standout value proposition. So hopefully through these last 4 days, we're putting together the pieces of the pie of what it takes to launch a coaching and consulting business that actually works. And I asked Lillian and the Lisas to join us here today to be able to share with you what it's like on the other side, because I know for some of you, it might be hard to see your path to financial freedom or your path to actually converting clients into doing business with you, or just increasing the volume of clients that you have. But before we dive in, I would love to hear, and welcome back, NA. I would love to hear from everyone. What is your biggest takeaway from these last 4 days as you think about all the ground we've covered, which has been the potentiality of replacing your six-figure salary, and different business models and hybrid business models, pricing strategies. What has stood out to you as the thing that really was the one thing you really needed to learn or really needed to hear? You can unmute, Lee.
Awesome. Yeah, it was the pricing tool. It just really simplified the overall process of understanding where should I begin to project. So that was really cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I just did that with a private client too. And it becomes really predictable when you know exactly how many clients you need to close and how many prospects you need to get in front of. It really drives your marketing strategy. So that's great. I'm glad that was useful. Anyone else? Hey, Dawn.
Hey, so I listened to the whole pricing tool thing on the recording yesterday because I had to miss, and that was really valuable. But what I really got to see is there's more digging to do on the value that the client receives. People say, oh, this is so important and everybody needs it. And boy, it's a good thing you guys are doing it. But there's something in the way I'm not hearing the value, because they're not sending 85 people at a time to me, right? They're not even sending one sometimes. So there's something that I don't understand about the actual value of the current participants to be able to figure out what the pricing is. So that was really,
that's great.
Woo, hit home hard.
Yeah. And, when we're talking to our ideal clients, and I'll mention this again later, is that we need to meet them where they are. So you need to sell them what they want and give them what they need. And sometimes we get our knickers in a twist, as one of my ex-bosses in corporate used to say. Mona, I don't know if you remember Marianne Broadbent, but she was from Australia. And I worked with her for a delightful, half a year. And she always used to say, oh, Deb, sometimes you just get your knickers in a twist. And we get our knickers in a twist with our marketing when we start talking about how we deliver value, or, the methodologies that we use. And truthfully, your ideal clients don't care. They don't care what you were trained in or your specific methodology for the most part. I mean, sometimes you want to pull out that you have this certification or this particular training, but for the most part, your clients want their problem solved. And that's it. So when I was talking to my client, who's an executive coach, right before this session, we were talking about building out her lead funnels and creating some lead magnets and a webinar that would work for her to attract new clients. But she works with CEOs who want to get on boards. That's their number one challenge. And I said, if you write a document that's 7 tips for how to get on a board as a female CEO, that's something that your ideal clients would love to get their hands on. You can build a whole talk around that. You can build a whole program around that. But you're meeting people where they are. Sometimes the language of helping people be better leaders can sound like, well, you remember the Charlie Brown cartoon? I'm going to age myself now, where the teacher was in front of the room going, wah, 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 wah. because that's how we sound to our clients sometimes, or our potential clients. We're just wanting them with these marketing platitudes. You really need to hit at the heart of the matter of where they're struggling. So I'm glad you raised that, Dawn. Anyone else with the takeaway so far from this week?
Yeah, I think for me, it's, I think what happened on day one, which is just realizing how hard I make this. So I really, I appreciate it. And yes, it's hard for me, because it's a learning curve. But it just helped me to see, like, I'm where I'm in my own way. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. And, everyone can cut yourself a break, because it's not that you were raised to be an entrepreneur. For many of us, I know for me, I spent, a half dozen years in sales, a bunch of years in marketing, and then in product development, and then in product management, and then back to product marketing. And that's what we learned. Those were the skills that we brought to the table. And when you decide to take your next chapter and maybe take some of those skills and apply them to something else, it's okay not to know, because it's a whole new process. And even though I had been launching things for dozens of years, when it came to launching my own business, it was a whole different animal. Well, first of all, I wasn't in the B2B space anymore. I was in the B2C space, and I had a completely different ideal client who needed a completely different language. So yeah, we weren't educated as entrepreneurs for the most part. Anyone else have a share? We're good. Angela, Francoise, Chantel, NA. Okay, so with that, I'm going to do what I've done every day, not very elegantly, the live stream on YouTube, and then screen sharing. So here we go. I wish there were a more seamless, elegant way to do this, but here we go. All right, are you seeing the slides now? Awesome. Okay, so welcome back to the Business Launch Masterclass, AKA Launch School. This is the last in our 4 sessions. So what if there were a step-by-step process that once you learned it, you could launch an entire portfolio of services that your ideal clients just loved? That when they worked with you on one program, it was just a natural for them to move on to the next, and the next, and the next. That could radically transform your revenue and bring in a lot of ease and flow into getting and keeping clients, wouldn't it? Is that process that you would want to learn about? And is it something that you want to master? So type yes in chat if that's something that you'd like to learn about and master, because that's what we're going to cover here today. That's a go-to-market strategy that I'm going to share with you. Yes to ease and flow, right? It's my motto for this year, Beth. So welcome back. As I mentioned, this is session 4, and this is where we will tie together all the pieces of your business launch, your business model, your pricing, how you will go to market with your offering, to your exact ideal group of potential clients. So I am super excited about that, so that you can stand out and become a market of one while you meet your business and lifestyle goals and replace that 6-figure salary. And all of you in the room, I think, know who I am by now, that I have a background in corporate, that I was launching products and I was launching services as products. And I also grew a single division from 0 to 32 million in 30 months. And I have a reputation for getting launches right. So because the truth is that 75% of all businesses will fail for one not very good reason. And that's no market need. We also learned that 88% of women entrepreneurs earn less than 6 figures. And there's only one reason for that. And when I discovered it, the study, it made total sense. There was just no market need. And I experienced that myself in my own career after I left the corporate world, and I joined a year-long mastermind of other women who were launching their businesses. And I realized as I looked around the room that the reason why I was on stage on the success panel was because I was generating consistent 5-figure months, and most of the other women in the room were not. Now, the road to entrepreneurship is hard enough. So the number one thing that you need to get right is that people actually want to buy what you're selling. Because when you know how to create in-demand products, then you can make money anytime you want to. So I want that to really land for you. When you know how to create in-demand products, meaning services, then you can make money anytime you want to. It sounds like a bit of magic. And in some ways, when you do crack the code on your mission values and you align those to the services that are in demand in your market, it literally really feels like magic. Sometimes I wake up in the morning feeling so blessed that I have accrued these skills in my lifetime. And now that I get to teach them to others, and everyone benefits in this equation. So once you learn how to validate your program ideas and put together compelling marketing, you too will be able to create revenue on demand. And if you're interested in that, type me in chat. I'd love to know who's interested in learning how to create revenue on demand, because it feels amazing. It's like employment insurance. It doesn't matter what happens on the outside world if you have something that's working for you. And I know many people who were negatively impacted by the pandemic. And at the same time, I know others that were quickly able to recover most of their revenue, and still others like me who were able to grow despite what was happening outside. And I was grateful that I was able to support my family, assist my partner at a time when he was unemployed and battling cancer. My business was truly a blessing. And that's what this training is about. So let's create some revenue on demand. So I'm going to go back to basics here and start talking about some basic business foundations, because when you first start out, most people tend to go to the end of the line and do what's required later, and they do that first. And you don't want to build a house. You wouldn't build a second floor on a house that didn't have a solid foundation, because this is what it would look like, right? So the first foundation in building a business is to find the gap. So find the gap in that market, looking through that lens. What can you see in your market area that other people are missing? And then the next step is to differentiate yourself in a crowded market by either solving a new and emerging problem, or taking a slice of something and solving a problem in a new way. Or, yeah, that's probably it. Solving a problem in a new way, solving a new problem, having a twist on your business strategy or how you deliver. And I'll give you some examples in just a moment. Because find the gap before you go to market, because without a gap, without a problem to solve, you really don't have a business. And I guarantee you that most new business owners, when they're thinking about launching a business, are thinking too broadly. The second foundation is to test. Don't guess. Don't guess. So there's a lot of courses that you can take online that will help you journal out who your ideal client is, or what your online course offering could be. But the truth is that when you get to do you, and you get to be different in your market, the best place to start is by testing out what your ideal client needs. Because testing gives you proof. And wouldn't you rather have proof that people want to buy what you're selling, that there's actual demand for your services, and that you've defined the right client niche, and your market is big enough, and your marketing message is landing before you go to market? Because without proof, you really don't have a business. You still have a business idea. And basic principle number 3 is once you have completed steps 1 and 2, then you can carve out a compelling value proposition. Your value proposition needs to land directly on a prioritized need that your ideal client has. And your value proposition is also tied to your mission. It's who you are. It's what breaks your heart. It's what pisses you off. It combines your unique ability to solve your clients' issues and get them to where they want to be with a little bit extra differentiator that you bring with your unique perspective, your unique process, or your unique style of delivery, or your unique experience. So some of you may know her. I have a friend called Precious Williams. She is known as the hashtag killer pitch master. So is there any question what Precious can help you do? She's an in-demand speaker because of her unique story, because she was homeless. She was disowned by her family. And yet she had a law degree, and she really brought herself out of the women's shelter and started using her gift of her oratory skills to start pitching for profit, which is the name of the book that she has just published. So she's known for helping people become expert at the pitch. And to tell you the truth, if I land on the Shark Tank stage, I want Precious to be the one who has coached me in delivering my pitch, because she has a reputation for training people to deliver pitches that result in actual money. So whether you're speaking from the big stage and you've got a keynote and you'll be making an offer, or you want people to be compelled to come up and learn more and work with you after that talk, or whether you're actually looking for investors, having someone like Precious in your pocket, there's a lot of P's there, is a strong value proposition. So as you know, I am on a mission to close the wage gap with women entrepreneurs, because women underprice their services because they undervalue their impact. And when women work with me, they expect to show up at a higher level and align behind a higher price point. And most marketing doesn't land because it's all about the marketing, and it's not about the ideal person or your ideal client. And so without a distinct value proposition, what happens is business is a struggle, because you're then meeting with people who say, oh, okay, well, I've got 3 other life coaches or executive coaches that I'm speaking with, or 2 other consultants. And it's hard to stand out as that market of one and being the only one who. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to check in with everyone here. How much do you want to make this work? On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making your business work? So Beth and Chantel are all in. Eugenia, welcome back. All right, this is a very, very committed crowd. Awesome. Because entrepreneurship is the new feminist movement. This is when you have ultimate control over your time, your money, the impact that you make with the clients that you work with. And the road to entrepreneurship is not an easy one. There's nothing cookie cutter about my launch process. The beautiful thing about this is that you get to do you. What I've done is build a framework on what I did over the last 25 years that worked. So for everything that I've done the last 25 years, everything that didn't work got thrown out. Everything that did work got put into the process and fine-tuned over time. So it made my clients happy. When I worked in corporate, the sales force was ecstatic. The CEO was singing my praises, and I got a hefty paycheck and a bonus as my reward. So now I'm sharing this same framework and process with you so that you can learn how to launch a successful business and not struggle to get clients. Because most people end up thinking that they have a marketing problem. And there are some common misperceptions when you first get started. So I hear this all the time. Deb, I'm not ready for Launch Lab. I need to work on my branding first, or I need to build out my website, or I need to work on my messaging. or I don't need to test my idea. I already know there's a huge market out there for life coaches or executive coaches. And most people do things, they do the right things, but they do them in the wrong order. And if you are a smart, ambitious woman with a mission to fulfill, now is your time. There has never been a better time for women on the planet. And let's face it, that better time for women on the planet is not happening in the confines of the corporate world. We're in the midst of a massive she-cession. And today, the Wall Street Journal reported on a McKinsey study where all of the jobs, 102% of the jobs that were recovered in April went to men. So I've coached a few hundred aspiring women through my training programs, and about 100 women have graduated from the Launch Lab now. But when I first started out, I was in the process of figuring it out, just like you are now. And I hadn't made the connection with my corporate experience and being an entrepreneur because I didn't yet see my corporate experience as preparing me to launch my own business. I know, it's like crazy. But now I'm in a different place, and I've put together a valuable program that has valuable programs and have a business that generates multiple six figures and is on the way to my first million. Give me another 18 months, 2 years, and we will hit that holy grail. And it all started with this launch framework that I'm going to share with you today. So I want you to stop guessing about your offers. And I want to share this framework with you, and I'll share with you the inside of what we do in each stage. So the Launch Lab is all about putting together all of the pieces to validate your money-making model in a very short period of time so that you have proof and you know that people want to buy what you're selling. So step one is to discover your unique positioning. And if you think about it, and you can write this down, if you look at your entire career, like what were the high points? What are the most memorable moments where you felt plugged in, where you felt vital or alive and excited and passionate about what you were doing? And what are the low points? Were those times where you experienced an injustice or something just broke your heart that you witnessed? So those are your defining moments, and those are behind your mission. And so part of this journey is exploring yourself and your own journey in this process. The second part is to get confidence with proof that people will pay you to help them make their problems go away. I mean, I'm stating it very simply, and whether you're dealing with corporations or you're working with individuals, the problems and the process are still the same. And then we want to package and price those services so it's an easy yes for your clients. If you remember yesterday, we talked about the return on advantage. When you can have that conversation with your client, because even if you're selling to corporations, you're selling to individuals inside those corporations who want to look good, who want to do something right for the organization. They want to make an impact through their work. So we're always tapping into the emotional drivers as well as the logical drivers in putting your value proposition forth. And we want to attract clients with the right messaging and offers, right? So you signed up for these 4 days for 4 hours of training with me because there was something that resonated with you in the messages that you got, whether it was the email or the landing page where you signed up. And then we want to have a plan to meet your revenue and lifestyle goals. And the next step after the pricing calculator is really to download, I have a planning guide, and then build your marketing plan around your pricing strategy, your revenue goals. So that is basically how the Launch Lab works. Now, to succeed at this game, you need to bring all of you to the table. And right now, some of you might be stuck in fear, or maybe a little bit of perfectionism. So perfectionism really took a while for me to get beyond because I wanted everything to be shined up, polished up, the I's dotted, the T's crossed. And what I realized was sometimes on this journey, you have to allow for it to be a little messy, where you have to collaborate with your clients and get them engaged in creating the programs with you. Procrastination is a killer because time is money. And if you're letting time go by because you have resistance, you don't like to be seen on social media, or you're nervous speaking in front of people. If you remember, I shared the story of my very first webinar, which wasn't even on Zoom. There was no video. I didn't have to worry about hair or makeup, but I was nervous because I didn't want to screw it up. And I had all my colleagues and my friends' pictures pasted around my office because if I didn't just do it, and there's something that a term one of my coaches coined called commitment exposure. When you put a date on the calendar and you say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to launch, I'm going to give a talk, I'm going to put my marketing out there into the universe, then you have that commitment exposure and everything engages in your brain and your body to do whatever it takes to meet that commitment. So you also need to get the right side of your brain engaged as well. That takes some strategy here. We want to make sure that our messages land, that we're effective in our marketing, and our marketing is working for us. So one of my private clients and I were just talking about building out her lead funnel and automating as much of this as possible, because when you are a solopreneur or an owner of a small business, your time is your most valuable asset. So to automate and delegate as much as possible. Then, of course, there's the sales piece. So you either have to get comfortable selling, you have to outsource to someone else, or think twice about launching a business, because success comes from both direction and your own accountability. So how accountable are you to be ready and prepared for your own success? So if you're ready to diagnose what's not working in your business right now, to get your marketing to appeal to your ideal clients who are happy to pay you a premium price for your services, I want to help you get there. So I have had Kim and the team make room on my calendar in the next week if you would like my eyes focused on your business, and if you'd like an honest analysis of where you need to focus your attention to increase your income, I'm here to help you. Imagine being able to replace your six-figure salary. What would that enable you to do that you're not doing now? How much a greater impact would you be able to make through your work? And what impact would that have on your family? So in this breakthrough session, we will review your takeaways from this training. I know not everybody has felt comfortable contributing. We'll validate your business idea. So we'll put it through the Deb filter on validating your business idea, your offers, and your pricing if you have them. If not, we can just start from the blank sheet of paper and start from a blank slate on what your business could look like. And we'll identify what you need to succeed. It is a research-based approach. There's no guesswork here. This is not my opinion. It's not, it's all based on information that we get from the market. And if you have clients and you have been struggling with selling, this is also for you. We can review your pricing, positioning, and your return on advantage. So Kim, if you would do me the favor of typing that into the chat, the launchlabassessment.com. So there is an application process to join the Launch Lab, and we do that for two reasons. One is I want to make sure it's a good fit for me with the people I work with. And I want to make sure it's a good fit for you, that you will enjoy this Launch Lab experience. So enrollment in the Launch Lab is open. And if this is your time and you're finally ready to step into your value and get clear on your pricing, now may be your time. We can explore whether the Launch Lab is the right fit for you in our call. We'll explore whether or not that's the right program for you. And I apologize to the the clients who have already been through the program and who didn't get this bonus, but standout webinars is a bonus for you when you sign up for the Launch Lab. And the value of standout webinars is $1,997. So there's a special offer on the table, and the Launch Lab applications will only be open for a week. So next Friday at the end of day, we'll be closing down the application process. So you want to make sure that you get in your application, because we'll also close off the application process when all of the seats are full. And there's no obligation, by the way, there's no obligation for you to join. If we decide that it's not a good fit for you, no harm, no foul. We have spent an hour getting to know each other, but if it is the right time for you to join, you just need to commit to taking action based on what you learn. And I am literally invested in your success. And I think you'll hear that from the other clients who I've asked to join us today. And I will do everything in my power to be sure you get the support you need on this journey. So join us, join us. All right, so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about the Launch Lab or the value proposition. But first, before we do that, I would love to honor the Launch Lab graduates who are in the room today. And I'm wondering if Lillian and Lisa Rabluck and Lisa Shell would share their experience. So Lillian, would you go first?
Certainly. Thank you, Deb, and hello to everyone. And thank you for inviting me today. And I will try to be quick. But I will say that Deb and the experience in the Launch Lab helped me to zoom in and knowing that I wanted to focus on the 13%. And that's the 13% that has a drop from entry level in corporate to senior mid-level leadership. So it helped me to crystallize my purpose for InView Solutions, which is a leadership and career coaching firm. And that 13%, unfortunately, 9% women of color constitute that 13%. So I really have dual audiences. But in speaking a little bit to Deb, I look back and I see that she focused on process, practice, and people. Process, I will say that for the Southern girl, I did not want to go another year and say, I'm fixing to do something. So Deb helped me to get past that fixing to actually launching and being able to use a process that really works. From a practice standpoint, I just love it that Deb, you're extremely generous in being practical in the information that you share. So it's not this pie in the sky that you cannot put into application immediately. So good practice information. And then lastly, from a people perspective, even though I did do the Launch Lab and I encourage you to do the standout webinar because I ended up doing both, from a people perspective, there has been no better coach that really invested in me from a people perspective, and then opening up her network in order to make connections. So for me, process, practice, and people has been the power of being in the Launch Lab. So thanks again, Deb.
I love your alliteration, Lillian, and it's just great to have you here. And you also happen to be part of a community that really connected together as well. So the other people part of it is the other people in the Launch Lab, which is representative by the people who are in the room here right now, just other smart, accomplished, savvy women leaders who are looking to build something big in the world. So does anyone have any questions before we move on to Lisa Shell? Does anyone have any questions for either the ladies that have been through the program, or do you have any questions about the content of today's session?
Yeah, I have a question for Lillian. Lillian, what would you say is the biggest difference for you going through the course, like before and after? What was your main takeaway?
The main takeaway for me and Beth, for me, is I had ideas in my head and actually had begun to put them together, but honestly, it helped me to really pull my program into something that was crystallized. and not to do, and I know in this cycle of workplace violence, but I have to use an old school analogy, not to do a machine gun approach, just shooting and hoping that I would hit something. Now I'm really zoomed in and more focused on what I'm doing. And I feel more comfortable about it, and I can speak to it more confidently.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
I love you landing on that 13%. I think that's super strong. I think it gives a very strong visual, and we know who you're addressing and what problem you're solving. So that's just really well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? The question? Hey, Nicole. All right, Lisa Shell, why don't you share and we'll take some more questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Deb, for asking me to be on. And hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Shell, and my business is called The Relatable Writer. And it was a journey to get there, and I could not have done it without the Launch Lab. I can say that with 100% certainty. What really resonated with me deeply when I first met with Deb were two things. One, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier, was the pricing calculator and helping me to understand exactly how I was undercutting myself, but also how to really structure a program and a pricing structure that made sense for my business and what I was looking to deliver. But before I could even get to that point, something else that really resonated was something that, Deb, I'm going to badly paraphrase it, I think, but you don't have a business until you have a product. I thought I knew exactly what my product was, and I was pretty close, but through the Launch Lab, I learned how to really fine tune it, how to home in. And I think, Lillian, we had similar experiences there where it wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. And my target audience also evolved as I did some research. And Deb really just has such expertise in that area and was able to, walk us through the steps and provide us with the tools to step out with complete certainty about the product that we're offering. There's so many things to say about the Launch Lab, but another thing that I just say is the community is extremely valuable as well. I mean, you can imagine just a lot of women who are all really just excited and invested in building a business, working together in a community and bouncing ideas off of one another has also been super helpful. I've still got relationships from the Launch Lab, and we're still in touch, and it was just a fabulous group to be part of. So I don't want to take too much time, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah. And I just want to acknowledge Nicole is here, Amy is here, Julie is here. Julie, Jen, Amy, this might be sort of like arriving at a party during the last half hour. So we've been, but the good news is that there are replays available. Oops, did we lose someone? Did we lose someone? I guess we did. But the good news is that there are replays on the Life After Corporate Facebook group so that you can get them there. I think Mona probably went through a zone and lost her cell service. But welcome, Nicole. Nicole is also a Launch Lab grad. Nicole and Lisa Shell and Lisa Rabluck are all in the Six-Figure Accelerator as well. Any other questions from attendees, either for me or for other Launch Lab folks in the room? And Dawn is in the middle of the Launch Lab right now, as is Kristen. So we have a lot of Launch Labbers in the room.
Hi, this is Mona. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Lisa Shell. Sorry, I am in the car. I'm not driving. My husband is driving. But I just wanted to ask Lisa, what is your business? I didn't catch that.
So my business is called The Relatable Writer, and it's basically I'm helping people who wrestle with words, entrepreneurs and small business owners who are looking to really fine tune their value message and extend it in a consistent way, across all of their collateral, figure out how they can take less time to handle all the writing that's involved and that sort of thing. Thanks for asking.
There's a ton of writing, no lie. There's a ton of writing when you're an entrepreneur, because if you're the marketing channel. Now there's always help, right? So I have a job rec open for a fractional digital marketing director. So I'm going to add that talent to my team because I just need that level of support. There's so much content to create. But yeah. Lisa Rabluck, do you want to share a few words about your post-launch lab experience?
Sure. So hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Rabluck. My company is Wicked Ideas, and I work with people driven to change their worlds with purpose, and they've got the scars to prove it. So Deb, today is our anniversary. Yes, I looked it up on the calendar, and today is the 4-month anniversary of us knowing each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's in 4 months. We met on the first Friday in February. And on the first Friday of February, I had no plan. I had just lost a contract that I thought was going to pay me for the next few months. And yeah, and to yesterday, I hosted the second of what will be 10 live classes of my new program that went from nothing to launched in 4 months, thanks to Deb. I've also hosted my own webinar, and yeah, we're rocking it. So what's the magic of the Launch Lab? Well, you can go from 0 to 60 in 4 months if you put in the work, if you do the sheets, and you just put your head down and go. It works, man.
And Lisa, you and Francoise are not too far apart from each other geographically.
Mm-hmm.
You know each other?
No. No. Where do you live, Lisa?
I'm in St. John, New Brunswick.
Are you kidding me? Okay, we're like 100 kilometers apart.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in Fredericton.
Oh, for God's sakes. All right, well, we'll talk afterwards because
Absolutely. So what's your business? Wicked Ideas? What is it?
What is Wicked Ideas?
Yeah, what's your business exactly?
So I do change management and coaching. So yeah, wickedideas.ca. Yep, we'll have to talk offline because we probably know about 300 people.
Yes.
In common.
Because just for everybody else, New Brunswick is a small Canadian province of only 750,000 people. So
yeah.
And because I work with government, I probably know half the people you know. Anyway,
Yeah.
so anyways, that's it. That's my story. Sign up. And Francois, it's worth the exchange rate. As I said to Deb, because I'm in Canada, and of course I pay a 20% premium.
Yeah.
Thank you, Canadian dollar. Some things are not worth the exchange rate, but Deb most certainly is.
Thank you, Lisa. You're such a joy to work with. And, you know, I kind of fall in love with my clients. It's a little secret. I can't help it. I just really love people. And so, yeah, I've been fortunate and really blessed to work with the people that I've worked with, including Nicole. Nicole and I were chapter leaders. We're still chapter leaders in the Elevate Network. And I was in her squad one year, which is kind of like a mastermind group for 12 weeks or so. And we've remained friends ever since. And then the Launch Lab.
Yeah, I think so, Deb, that was the fall of 2018 that I was in that squad with you. And at the time I had a VP offer in front of me. And so my squad hot seat was, you know, I've got this VP offer in front of me at a really young age, and, you know, in my early 30s, you know, what do I take it? Do I not? And people were like, well, didn't you say you were thinking about doing a business thing, your own business thing? And so it was that squad that helped me just to, you know, really pull out of me that, you know, I wanted to be the CEO of my own business, not an executive in somebody else's business. And so then Deb and I continued to stay in contact. I did a lot of working on my business for like 1.5 years or 2 years, did all the free things, all the free downloads, all that great stuff. And that can get you to a certain point, or that education is great. But the secret sauce is in having somebody right alongside you, helping you actually apply those things that you hear in those webinars and help you apply the things that you're downloading for free online. So I wasted a lot of time doing that for about a year and a half, or really rather longer. And Deb, you and I caught up, what was it? April of last year, you and I got caught up because I, since had referred a bunch of people to you who were quote unquote ready for you. And then I talked to you in April. I'm like, Nicole, you're ready, right? You're ready. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And then I just checked based on what Lisa just said. I just checked my cell phone and I texted you on June 18th last year and said, Deb, I quit my job. And Deb's like, let's get on the phone right now. And so we got on the phone and talked. And so, I enrolled in the Launch Lab, and having that support, not only from Deb, but from the community was just so life-changing, honestly, for me and for, and yes, the pricing calculator and the strategy, all of that's great. Again, that secret sauce is helping you apply all of those things to your specific business, but it's also that mindset stuff, because Deb, I think Deb, one of the first things you ever said to me whenever I was talking to you about starting a business was it's going to drum up a lot of your stuff, and you got to be prepared for that. And Deb has been helping me with that now ever since, now even in the six-figure accelerator, working through, that new level, next level, new devil sort of mindsets that come up for you. So that would be what I would share. And thank you for allowing me to
your magnificence in what you do, because you are really incredible.
Thank you. So I'm a career and leadership coach for corporate women, and why I was late was because I'm actually also getting my ICF authentic leadership coaching certification. Our training ended a little bit early, so I thought I was able to pop in and say hi quickly.
Yeah, and she helps people upgrade their careers, do a career upgrade. Even in a pandemic, you can get a promotion.
Yeah.
And so where I'm closing the wage gap with women entrepreneurs, Nicole is closing the wage gap with women leaders in corporate, coaching them to be better negotiators for themselves and ask for a sign-on bonus and get it. So, when we started talking about the pricing calculator, Nicole was there the week after I created it, because it came to me on a Saturday. And her return on advantage, just imagine, and I think I told this story yesterday, that when you can get someone at a higher grade level in their salary in the corporate world, they have more room to be promoted. They get bigger bonuses because there's a percentage of their bonus that is a percentage of their salary. And the lifetime value of that and the confidence that you get from learning how to negotiate for yourself. What are you going to ask for next, right? Yeah. So it's a really strong value proposition with your career upgrade.
Yeah. Well, and I'll just share, Deb, I just got an email just today, so I'm beaming all over the place. I just got an email today from one of my clients, got laid off in the middle of her maternity leave, in the middle of the pandemic, and still invested in herself, in coaching with me. And she just landed her job, and she got the job offer on Tuesday, and we talked this week, and she went back and negotiated, and she is getting $15,000 more than what she was making pre-pandemic. Like life-changing.
I get chills, right? Don't you get chills when you hear that? Because it's just like women empowering women. And I know that hashtag is so overused, but we need each other, right? We need each other. Thank you, Nicole. It's great to have you here. Anyone else have anything to ask or add? Eugenia?
I have another question.
Oh, you went mute again.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah. Mona, we have you and then Eugenia.
Okay, a quick question. For those, and this is to Deb or any of the Launch Lab alums, for those who are in a B2B business, I'm curious on, what kind of ahas or what kind of changes did people make to their business model? They went in thinking a particular business model and they said, no, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go to a hybrid. I'm sort of maybe just highlight some of the learnings or how people have thought about business models with respect to B2B. I mean, I went through, the session, I remember the samples, but I'm just wondering if there are any sort of patterns in how people have, how women have changed or on that.
Yeah, Lisa Rabluck, you would be the best one to answer that.
After the launch.
Yeah, Mona, your sound is a little wonky.
So Deb, just tell me what you heard.
Yeah. So Mona is wondering, how the Launch Lab, when you're in a B2B situation, how did the Launch Lab change your experience, particularly around a hybrid business model?
Right. So obviously, so I've run a consultancy for the past 10 years. So very classic feast or famine model of consultancy, because I'm a one person. So I take in the clients I can handle. And then as those contracts are starting to fade away, then I go out and look for more. Right. So very, very much like this. And I was tired of it. Largely because I had a contract that got canceled at the last minute because of whatever, it doesn't matter. So I wanted more normalization. So right now, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of crazy busy because I still have clients and I'm now creating assets, right? So I'm creating a program. So my goal is that a year from now, I have no more consultancy, that I have shifted into the solutions ladder. So there's still consultancy, right? Because the people take the program and then they can hire me to help, because what you get out of my program is a 12-month work plan on systems change and solving complex problems. So there naturally, you would hire me to help you make that happen. But I will have formalized it, and they're going through a funnel. So that's sort of what's happening, Mona. I'm in the transition phase. I am not taking on any, so I'm taking a bit of a risk. I'm taking on no new consultancy clients. I am focusing on the program. So better work.
Yeah. So, yeah. And when you go from a one-to-one to a hybrid business model or a group business model, there is a transition there, right? So acknowledging there is a transition, there are, it's your warm and fuzzy friends and colleagues and connections who are going to join your first program. But that also gives you the confidence and also the testimonials to go and expand more into other markets and other people. So I'll talk about standout webinars since we've got three questions about that. So I can screen share. I love standout webinars, and I created it in the pandemic because so many of my sister colleagues who were making a living standing on stages and doing in-person workshops suddenly saw all those opportunities dry up. And I was like, oh my God, I know how to do webinars. I can teach other people how to do this. And originally it was a 5-week program, and then it was a 6-week program, and then a 7-week program. And as I did it a few times with a couple of cohorts, I realized what people needed. And so now it's an 8-week program. At the end of standout webinars, you have a webinar. You have a webinar in a box that you're ready to deliver. You're ready to invite people to do business with you. So it's an important part of the program. It does mesh very well with the work that you do in the Launch Lab, because while you're testing out your value proposition and your ideas, number one, you need to have an offer that you're enrolling people into after your webinar. And number two, you're building your webinar to fit that ideal client audience that you've just identified. So, when Lillian builds out her webinar, she's building it out to those 13% who are the ones that are falling off the broken rung in the ladder. So this is where you learn how webinars fit in your strategy, where you get comfortable delivering it. We actually build it together. It's fun because I like to brainstorm on marketing and headlines and and coming up with something that's compelling, a more compelling way of saying something. And so I get to play with you in your marketing funnel when we do this. And also you get confident in how to make offers when you're speaking. So how to be in the process of inviting people to work with you without it feeling salesy or sleazy or anything like that. And then I now teach strategies for keeping your audience connected and engaged when your webinar is over. So there's it's standoutwebinars.com, and you can look at that page. We have a cohort that is in session right now, and they finish up July 8th. And based on demand, really, I'll decide on whether or not we do standout webinars again this summer and we do a summer cohort, or if we postpone to the fall, depending on when people are ready to start working together. So as all my programs, they include live video sessions with presentation handouts and tools, as well as weekly office hours for coaching, group coaching, laser coaching on your webinar content. And the same thing with the Launch Lab, it's weekly. That's why we get to know each other so well, and people create relationships with each other, because you really do get that hands-on support. And that's what I found was missing in most of the other programs that I had taken, is that I really didn't get, there was a guru, there was someone who was in charge of the program, but I didn't get as much time with that person as I would have wanted to. And I think that's what's missing in the entrepreneurship space, is that there's a lot of online courses. There's a lot of programs that you can get involved with, and there might be a couple hundred people on the Zoom room, and you're not going to get any attention. So it's not like that. This is an example of what a Launch Lab room looks like. So did that help, the standout webinars piece? Good. Any other questions? We have like 3 minutes. Eugenia.
I don't come from the corporate world, and I'm a little overwhelmed with all this amazing experience that you've all and Nicole, you've shared. Congratulations to all of you. I think it's wonderful what you've done, and it's quite a testament to you, Deb, and the way you work with women and putting together all the milestones of their success. So I come from a therapy background, and I am a life coach. I've worked in corporations. I used to do the coaching when coaching was unknown. In fact, on the day of 9/11, I was doing it in Greece at the Johnson & Johnson, the moment that the whole thing broke out here in the US. And I had to interrupt the session because somebody says, it's an American company, let's all go home. So there was an 8-hour difference, and it was afternoon there. So what I am wondering is, first of all, I'm not clear about my niche, because I've been thinking about either offering a package to coaches, but mostly therapists and hypnotherapists who want to break into coaching as well. And most of all, they want to ask the money they're worth for their services, and to stop trading hours and do programs the way I've done it. I've done it in the pandemic. I tripled my revenue, and I started offering programs right off since last April in hypnotherapy and coaching, and a combination, which I call it hypno coaching. So that's one. And the other is, I am inspired and I love working with women. It has been my niche, even in therapy, and people have told me that I'm a good teacher. I've taught at the university level. I've done a lot of seminars. I have not done any webinars. I'm scared to death. I will admit, I need somebody to hold my hand for the first one. After that, I take it off like a rocket. I have confidence, but somehow the idea of doing a webinar just kind of stops me dead on my tracks.
You're not alone. I mean,
Oh,
many people feel that way. So first of all, just because you haven't been from corporate, I have worked with therapists before. I have 2 therapists. Twisting the Plot is their company. They have a podcast. The biggest challenge I have with therapists is getting them to charge.
I do that. You don't have to be
I
afraid.
don't have that problem.
I'm charging for hypno coaching. I'm charging like $1,000 a month. I have come up to 3-month programs, and I have come up to like $2,899. No, I have not touched the 3,000. Yet.
Well, that's
the
so.
problem now I'm
Eugenia,
facing is my clients want to go to the office, and I don't want to go to the office. And I have 2 offices, one in Fort Worth and in South Lake, which is where the Dallas Cowboys live. It's a very wealthy area. And I dread going to the office. I love working online.
So Eugenia, here's what we need to do. We need to have one of those conversations.
Yes.
So we need to take it
Yes.
offline. And just because you don't have a corporate background doesn't mean that the Launch Lab
Right.
isn't for you. There are other people who are in there. Sometimes it just feels more overwhelming. So I think what you said is because I don't have that kind of structured volume
Yeah.
approach. As
Yeah.
long as you're willing to be with that feeling and accept support around it, I think you'll be okay. But we
So
can talk that
When
through
somebody
more.
comes to the Launch Lab, do they have to have a niche already?
No, you can define your niche. So Chantal, thank you so much. It was great to meet you here. Thank you, everyone. I know people have to go. Please feel free to go to the launchlabassessment.com. Even if you're not signing up for a breakthrough session, it will give you so much clarity on where you're feeling strong in your business launch, and where you need to be focusing your attention going forward. So it's launchlabassessment.com. It's a cool tool. It's a tool I recommend most people bring into their lead funnels so that you have something that gives value to your prospects and also gives you some insight in when you're having these strategy session conversations. So first of all, it has been my honor to be with you. Thank you so much, Lisa, Nicole, Lillian, Lisa, and also to those who have left already. And Francoise, Eugenia, Mona, N.A., Jen and Amy, and those who have had to, Ivanka, I didn't see you there today, but I see you now. You're hiding in the shadows. Would love to have a conversation. There you are. Hello, beautiful. Love your background today. I want to be wherever that is. Oh, you're muted. So
it's a digital one.
yeah. So thank you so much for being here and for making a commitment to yourselves to pour into yourself and giving yourself something that will fuel your business going forward. So thank you, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you real soon. Take care.
Thank you.